The story of Ricky Nelson's funeral is not just a tale of death but of abandonment, heartbreak, and an entire industry's silence. Ricky Nelson was once one of the most beloved faces in America, having grown up on television and sold millions of records as a pop and rockabilly star. And yet, when it came time to honor him at his funeral, the turnout was dismal. For those closest to the late star, the emptiness of that chapel echoed more loudly than any tabloid headline. Ricky's funeral was meant to be a time of remembrance, a chance for Hollywood to honor one of its own. Instead, it became a haunting display of how easily the world can forget even someone they once called a prince of pop culture. Ricky's death came suddenly and violently on New Year's Eve 1985, when a DC-3 aircraft carrying him, his fiancée, Helen Blair, and several members of his band crashed en route to a concert. The news gripped the nation. Ricky Nelson, dead at 45. But as the dust settled, rumors swirled not only about the crash but about his final years. His finances were in disarray, his personal relationships were fractured, and his status in Hollywood had dwindled. Behind the scenes, Ricky had struggled with identity, relevance, and the pressure of being a childhood icon whose fame had peaked too soon. One of the most painful aspects of Ricky's story was the distance that developed between him and the people who might have been expected to show up at his funeral. Despite once rubbing shoulders with icons like Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, and Dean Martin, none of those worlds seemed to show up in mourning. Some believe that Ricky's clean-cut image and refusal to dive deep into the Hollywood party scene isolated him. He had never fully embraced the darker, grittier lifestyle many of his peers pursued. Others suggest that years of personal and professional disagreements left Ricky alienated. The family drama didn't help. His turbulent marriage to Kristen Harmon, which ended in a messy divorce, had long been a sore spot. The divorce was marred by custody battles, allegations of drug use, and tabloid drama. Many mutual friends reportedly chose sides, and when Ricky began dating Helen Blair, the rift with some members of his family widened. Helen, despite being a steady companion during his final years, was shunned in death. Ricky's mother, Harriet, and his family reportedly refused to allow Helen's body to be buried beside his. The refusal to even mention her in the funeral service created bitter resentment that kept some mourners away. The tension extended into the planning of the funeral itself. Some who would have attended didn't want to be part of the drama. Even Ricky's career in his later years was filled with rejection. As music trends shifted and new icons emerged, Nelson found fewer and fewer doors open. The man who once played sold-out arenas now performed in state fairs and small clubs. Industry giants no longer took his calls. Collaborators moved on. And when he needed support most in life and in death, few answered. That sad reality was embodied in the near-empty pews of his funeral. The bright lights of stardom that once followed him into every room had dimmed, and without that light, many simply didn't bother to show. Still, the absence of Hollywood did not mean Ricky was forgotten. Fans across the country mourned him deeply. Radio stations played his hits for days. Old albums sold out. Letters poured in from admirers who had grown up watching him, listening to his music, and loving him from afar. These were the people who remembered the soft-voiced boy from the Nelson Family TV show and the rebellious young man who dared to break away and make his mark in rock and roll. They didn't need a star-studded funeral to prove their devotion. Ultimately, Ricky Nelson's funeral became symbolic not of his legacy, which remains intact, but of how cruel the entertainment industry can be when the cameras stop rolling. He deserved better. He deserved a farewell befitting a man who had given his life to show business. Instead, he was laid to rest quietly, surrounded by only a small circle, while the world that once applauded him stood silent.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.